gotten to the point where you can make your grid and your array and divide up your squares, I'm going to use the copy command and make sure I have my grid snap on and my O snap on. And I'm just going to use the move command to move this to the origin. Now I need to make an offset, and you can see that I have duplicate curves here, so I'm just going to delete one of those. And again, all these I have duplicates, so I'll just delete those. So I'm going to go to my white layer, and I'm going to do an offset. So I'm going to offset this curve to the outside by 0.125. Remember, you can also offset both sides, but we just need one in this instance. And now I'm going to offset these purple lines on the green layer. So offset both sides. I'm going to do these again by 0.125, but you can do it at any distance that will work. Oops. These are not joined together, so I'm going to select those and choose join. So now when I offset those, it will offset all of them, and this will be a closed curve. And offset this one again, both sides. Remember, enter or right click to end the command. Actually, I have to offset this one also on the inside. Now I'm going to extend these green lines out to the white square. So I'll type in extend. This is going to be my boundary object. Enter, and then I can select these curves. Enter when complete. I'm going to turn this white layer off for a moment and close in the ends of these. Turn that white layer back on, and I'm going to trim off here, so I can use my trim tool. This will be my cutting object. Enter, and then I can just go around and cut those off. Enter when complete. Turn that off again. Close these in. And then these are still individual line segments. So I'm just going to turn off the purple for a moment and turn off the black. That way I can just easily select everything and join it. So now these are closed curves. And I like to make copies as I'm working, and I'll just put this over here. Just so if I make a mistake, I always have one to go back to, which is why I have all these different, why I show the entire progression here is also, I would do that while I'm working on my own. Now we can go to our perspective view. I'm going to choose that inner 5x5 square, and I'm going to extrude curve. Select that curve. I'm going to do the curve 1 inch in the negative Z, and you can see here your X, Y, and Z. And now I can, I'll just go activate the white layer just so you can see it a little bit better when I extrude these curves. So I can select this, extrude curve tapered. I want it to be tapered so that I have a draft angle. So I have that set at 5, solid set to yes, 0.125. So I can just hit enter. I can select both of these, and again hit enter, and these, hit enter. Now I can just extrude another larger box to cut these edges off. And I still have those green lines there. So I will select this curve and this curve, extrude curve, and I want to do both sides and just make it larger. Make sure it goes past the bottom and the top surfaces of your model. So this is one closed extrusion. So I will now go and do a Boolean difference. This is your Boolean union and different Boolean operations, but I'm just going to put in Boolean difference. I want to subtract from these white surfaces, poly surfaces. I can use Control to deselect. And I want to subtract with this outer square, and enter. If I delete this, you can see I now have one the original poly surface and that poly surface with the edges cut off on top of each other. So I'm just going to undo this for a moment just to show you that when I do this Boolean difference again, so I want to subtract from these, just hit escape if you're having trouble selecting. So right now I do have 2 poly surfaces there. That's just one. That's just one. So I'll do my Boolean difference. Use shift to select these. So I'm subtracting from those. And delete input. I'm going to say yes this time. Subtract with this and hit enter. And now those pieces that I used in that operation are automatically deleted. Now if I select everything, all the closed surfaces, I can do a Boolean union. So that's now one closed poly surface. Just copy this over. And this is ready to be exported, but I'm going to go a little bit further with this design. So I'm going to turn my purple layer back on and activate that. I'm going to just change the layer. The green, I'm going to put it on this bright green blue and turn that off for the moment. So we can do more than one offset. So we can have multiple depths in our design. So I'm going to offset this entire shape again, offset to the outside. Let's see, I'm going to just put that on the blue layer for now. Offset these. Offset. 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 Turn this green off. Oh, I still need to offset on the inside. Go back, turn that green off. If I turn my this back on, you can see that's just on the same layer. These I extruded 0.125. So now I'm going to extrude these by 0.0625. So extrude curve tapered again, 0.0625. This and this. I'll again cut those off with my extrude curve. With my Boolean difference, I'm going to subtract from the blue interior offsets using this, and these extended beyond, which is no problem. Just need to delete those individually. Oops. And keep that line. So I can just select everything and do the Boolean union again. And I'll copy this over. So now I have a stepped surface. And remember, you can go to the shaded mode, or you can also check out these other modes to inspect it. Remember that we can also extrude shapes into the block. So if I wanted to make even another layer, I could offset this inner line. And to whatever distance I want. I can select that now and extrude tapered, and that'll go in. I'll just go in by 0.0625. I did one positive. So this is coming out, which you could do. I'm just going to make it go into the block. Delete that again. If you're having trouble, sometimes you have to reverse and put a negative as the distance. And there we go. So that's now inside the block. And now I can do my Boolean difference again. Subtract from this using that. Let's look at it in rendered. So now you can see that I have that additional step in there. Just turning off some of these layers. And now I can select or go to File, Export Selected. Select this to export. You can just keep this as the Rhino 8 model. However, these are all different file types. So if we were going to 3D print this, for example, we would use an STL file as our export, or a .3mf would also work. So I'm just going to do the Rhino 8 model. And oops. Name this Tile 2, Project 1, Tile 2. Save that. And then that can be brought to another program where we'll do the camming for the CNC. One other handy tool that you can use is up here. If you go to Curve from Objects, you can duplicate edges of an existing form. So rather than having to draw the lines over and over again, if you needed a line from this object, I can say duplicate edge, and you can also experiment with duplicating the borders. You can extract curves. So these are all ways of getting lines from an object, essentially. So I'm going to duplicate edge, so I can come in and select these edges. Don't want that one. Also, if you're having trouble navigating when you orbit, one thing you can do is go here to Set View, and right here you can place a target. So if I place the target here, now when I orbit, it's going to just orbit around that one object. So that's going to make it a lot easier. So if I were to place the target here, the entire screen will orbit around that point. So I'm going to place my target just in that, or that on that object, just so I can orbit around. And again, go back to curve from objects, duplicate edge. So now it's easier for me to navigate around this object. And I'll just hit enter, and now I have curves. And they're still there, even though, since they're on that level. or on that layer. I'll have to just reselect those for a minute, and then I'm going to join those because they were not joined when I extracted them. And sometimes, just if you have difficulty selecting, just zooming in a bit more can be helpful. Join. And that one is joined together. So I'm going to do an offset on that as well. I'll just put this on another layer to the inside. Do that all the way around. Now, I can extrude these. Tapered. And I'll be doing those into the block, but you can see that my angle is going the wrong way. So I need to put this at -5 and -0.0625. I'll enter. So now those are inside of that block. So again, I'll do that Boolean difference. I want to subtract from this using these. And I'll just go to the rendered. So you can see that, oops. That you can have these multiple offsets if you want a more complex surface. And then again, file, export selected. Another tool we can use, I'll put it in shaded, is the fillet tool. So if I don't want these to be such hard edges, I can type in fillet. The fillet will round off a square edge. So this is just to fillet the curves, but we're going to be filleting the edge of this solid. So we're going to go fillet edge. Oops. So it's the radius, so this is filleting at 1 inch. So I'll put in, let's just try 0.0625. So I'm going to start that over and just hit enter. So I have my next radius at 0.0625. Now I'll go and select those curves And you can say that you see that this says 0.063. That's just because I only have my tolerance set at 3 digits. If they're relatively simple fillets, like not very lots of curves, you should be able to select multiple. But if it's actually we don't want to fillet that edge, we want to keep that one square. Because that's going to be right up against the edge of our mold. And then I can hit enter. And just look, you can look at these different options up here. I can put in the preview and it will preview that, and then I'll just hit enter. So now that's slightly curved. So depending what you want the model to look like, what you want kind of transitions, you can choose what you want to fillet. We also have a chamfer command, which rather than rounding it off, chamfer edge. I'll do this. Change my distance. And I should have put in my original distance first, so I'll do that again. Oops. Chamfer edge. So I'm starting off with that 0.0625. Hit enter. You can preview it if you want to, but you can see that now this is putting that angle on it rather than the round. So I can get kind of multiple layers on that surface. I'm just going to save this. This tile 3. Make a copy. So that looks good. And I'm all set. And remember that, most of the commands that can be done on curves can also be done on objects such as the array. I'm going to array this object. Ask me how many. I'll just say 4 by 4. Oops. 4 by 4. Sorry, I'm hitting the wrong button. So I want 4 and X, enter. 4 and Y, enter. If I were to put 4 in Z, you'll see, if I'm in perspective mode, when I go to array this, again, I would choose a point. Not only is it going to array an X and Y, but if I have a number in Z, it will array those in space. So I just want 1 in Z, so I'll undo that, come back in. If you want to just zoom in on one area, you can use this zoom window and just zoom in like that. If you're way out and get lost, if you hit this zoom extents, it will bring everything in your design just into the screen. So I'll just do that array again. Array this object 4, 4, 1 in the Z. My cell spacing. And hit enter. And now I can see that tile.